Hello, and welcome to the Big Apple School podcast, the weekly English show where we speak about everything under the sun. The major goal of this show is to help you improve your English and, of course, learn something new. My name's Katya, I'm your host, and today with me, first time in the history of this podcast, are not two guests, but three guests who are
Maria,
Benjamin,
and Ken.
Woo! We now almost have a party over here. 4 people.
3 was also a party.
Not a small gathering of 3 people, but a huge crowd of 4. So, yeah. So this is, let's say, maybe a new format, an experimental format. So, dear listeners, please, after the podcast, let us know what you think about this. Do you like that there are 4 people or not? And in general, leave your comments, ask questions, let us know what you think about our show. You can subscribe to our pages on Apple, Yandex, Google, any platform where you listen to our podcast. You can actually turn on the notifications so that you don't miss out on new episodes. So yeah, if you tend to forget about them and then be surprised like, oh, wow, yeah, there is a new episode. And you can send your ideas about our next episode. It won't take much time or effort, but it will help us a lot. So thank you in advance. And I know that some people, I'm sorry, might be a little bit irritated with me saying that all the time in every single episode. So I'm sorry. And what about you guys? We're here to talk about irritating things and stuff. Are you ready to discuss this sensitive topic?
we're here to get a lot off our chest.
That's true. It's like a therapy session. No judgment. Hopefully, this is a judgment-free zone.
Free space.
Free space, yes. But first of all, I want to ask you. So, what kind of a person are you in general? I mean, are you easily getting irritated, or are you, as calm as it can possibly be?
Well, back then when I was younger, I used to get really irritated so fast and I would react. I was really reactive such that I would just maybe shout at the person who caused it or just be a little confrontational. But well, as time goes by, when you mature and become much older, then I guess your patience somehow, grows longer. And I must say that, well, in my case, I'm a little more patient now.
So when you say you used to shout and get confrontational with people, would that depend whether you knew these people or not? Or would that be anyone, a stranger on the street, a relative?
Well, that's a good question because if it's just, let's say, a stranger, I would try to keep my emotions to myself. But if it's somebody that I personally knew, then yeah, I could lash out the person.
Oh, wow. I would expect it to be the opposite. Because, a stranger, who are they? They're going to forget you the very next day. But relatives might hold a grudge,
Yeah, but they know me, so they should accept me for, supposedly accept me for who I am.
That's a very debatable statement, but all right.
Well, but then again, that was how I, looked at it when I was, younger. But I'm a totally different person now. Yeah.
And when you say younger, how younger do you mean? Like 2 days ago, 3 days ago?
Well, when I was a teenager.
Yeah. The teen years. Yeah. Masha, what about you?
I'm listening to Ken and I see myself in it because it was, I guess, the same. I was quite a difficult person to be around when I was a teenager. And after this, I guess, yeah. And maybe my friends needed to tolerate a lot. But then year by year, I was changing. And yeah, now I don't get annoyed so easily. Well, even if I do, I can control this emotion, at least this emotion.
Okay. Benjamin?
Yeah, like the other two, I used to get really hot-headed sometimes, but recently it's just not healthy to focus on things that annoy you, even though we're going to do that in this podcast. It's generally not like helpful to anyone or healthy to always talk about your annoyances. It's good to maybe, I don't know, call up your grandma and say, Grandma, this annoys me, Grandma, that annoys me, but it's not good to spread negative energy to everyone.
Fair enough. But I have a question though. So let's say a person out of your, close circle, let's say a friend or a relative does something that annoys you, maybe even regularly. Let's say they're always doing this or that. How are you going to react to that? Are you going to say this, to them like, oh, look, this is annoying?
I totally believe that it's better to discuss things, especially with your close ones, because when you keep everything inside, it is under pressure, then you're going to explode.
Yeah. What about you guys?
That's actually good. And, it's funny because I'm the exact opposite of who I used to be. Because right now, for example, if one of them, it could be a close friend or a family member who does something which I really don't like, I keep it to myself. And then I wait for the time when, I become a volcano that's about to erupt.
That's a very dangerous.
Yeah, I know. That's why I agree with her, with Masha, that it's much better to say it directly to the person so that, you can calm down and so that the other person will also change his or her behavior. But I don't know. It's just, I feel uncomfortable to address the issue.
It depends on the severity of the issue. If it's something really disrespectful, outright disrespectful, I wouldn't get into an argument. I'd just walk away and not speak to the person.
Ever again. You're like, it was nice knowing you. Have a good life.
Yeah, it depends on the severity of what happened. So if someone's just, I don't know, making really annoying noises, then you can be like, come on, just stop that. It's really annoying.
Yeah,
but
like neighbors, for example. Sorry for bringing that up. Almost in every podcast, it's just...
You love your neighbors so much.
Yeah, it completely depends case by case. If something crosses the line, well, who knows what the line is, but...
Fair enough. The line is different for all of us, yeah.
And I just want to add, the other reason why I try to keep it to myself, because I feel like, come on, you're old enough to realize, your actions. Well, at least that's how it works in my mind. But, we are different. Yeah. And there are people who are dense who just can't get it, that they are annoying and that they're doing something that is, let's say, disrespectful or maybe something that's really, annoying. Yeah.
Okay. So, and what are the typical things that annoy you? So let's get it off our chests.
Well, one of them, I must say, people who drive fast such that it creates this annoying sound. And I know I'm going to sound cruel, but sometimes I think, it's okay, he's going to die soon anyway.
Oh, no!
I know, that's just my way to,
It's really funny that, so, I mean, I'm not judging you because it annoys so many people, but whenever I hear that motor noise, I giggle like a little girl. I love it. I'm like,
You love it?
I love it.
Really?
It makes me so happy when I hear
Oh my
someone
God.
just...
That
It's
drives
so
me
funny.
mad. And just to calm myself
Thank
down,
you.
I just,
It drives everyone mad, but makes me laugh so much.
I've realized what kind of a unusual person you are. So last time you told us, oh yeah, I took a trip to Akademgorodok in the Pasig. It was such an adventure. To everyone, it's just, oh God, that was hell. And now about the motorcycling noises. Wow. That's all I have to say.
It's just so obnoxious. It's hilarious.
Wow, what a strange way to react.
Ken,
to
I'm
that.
with you on this one. Trust me. So I used to live right with my only window, facing Krasny Prospekt. So it was every single night. And, this is not something that even the earplugs help with. You can still hear it. I hate it. I mean, why do you have to do that at like 3 a.m.? Why can't you do that at like 11 p.m.?
That's why it's so funny.
Maybe it helps Ben to preserve his mental health. Like when he reacts this way, it's his subconsciousness.
One noise that really annoys me though are car alarms. That's different. Because it's not someone having a laugh and being funny. That just, it pierces through everything. And yeah, you can't sleep with a car alarm on. So yeah.
Okay, are there noises that annoy us?
The noises that my neighbors do, specifically my upstairs neighbors sometimes, when they try to drag, furniture. And again, just like, some drivers who really drive fast, I sometimes think, oh my God, I'm going to sound evil today because, okay, firstly, I want to say these are just my thoughts, okay? But I don't mean to, to make them happen. But it's also a comedic way to approach things because in my mind, I imagine their death. But in fact, it's just, it's just for fun for me. So sometimes, for example, when they try to drag...
Are evil.
I know, you see. Whenever they drag their, let's say, tables or chairs, sometimes I ask, I wonder when they're gonna die. Like, is it gonna be today? Like, I hope it's gonna be soon.
That's dark.
But I know, but it's funny to me. And, by having those thoughts, it makes me laugh instead of,
So you
getting
try
more
to imagine
annoyed.
the most ridiculous situation so that you're not mad at them anymore.
Yeah. I try to,
Would you feel guilty if they actually died?
I've never really thought about that. So
Thus
Well,
the
that's a
therapy
good
session
question.
begins. Masha, but you're keeping quiet. What annoys you?
I don't know about noises. I just was trying to concentrate on this. Nothing comes to my mind. But, early mornings really irritate me a lot. I mean, the necessity to wake up and do something early in the morning. I'm totally...
Funny you should mention that at 10 a.m.
Yes. And 10 a.m., it's not the time when I woke up, which would be all right. But
Yeah, it's the time that yeah. So you're not an early person. You're not an early bird. So.
No, absolutely. I'm more of a night person. So, for example, it's easier for me to work late in the evening, for example, than to start working early in the morning. For example, when we speak about early mornings, I'm a lot like Ken. I want to kill. Not like Ken. He thinks about it in his mind, but I really, I'm really ready to.
So
Ready to kill.
you're one of those people who should not be even talked to or touched, before they have had their coffee, before they have fully woken
Two
up.
coffees, yes, some sweet things, and I need some time to fully wake up.
That's why I kind of admire people who wake up 15 minutes before their workday starts. Well, let's say if they work online, because I can't function 15 minutes after I wake up. Like, no, I need at least an hour to slowly wake up, get breakfast. No.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I always wake up around 2.5 hours before school or work starts. What about you, Mr. Ken?
That's funny because when you said that you need some time, because that used to be my reason whenever I was woken up by my grandmother as a child. And I would, so she would expect me to go to the bathroom, basically have a shower. But then I would say, give me some time because I need to rest. And then my grandmother would ask me, what do you mean you need to rest? You got tired from sleeping? Well, no, I need time before I start moving.
Yeah, that's basically me. Yeah. So, okay, anything else that annoys you? I don't believe that it's only one thing.
Just, I'm afraid to start. I'm afraid of starting
to open this Pandora's
list,
box.
Yeah. Well, I had already mentioned this topic before we started. Taxi drivers.
Yeah, taxi
Should we
drivers,
start?
yeah.
Oh,
Discussing
please.
this?
Yes, please. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, taxi drivers can be really annoying, especially when it comes to their recommendations or advice that they want to give you on everything. And of course, you never ask them to do this. They're always ready to talk, and I prefer not to talk to a person when I'm in the car. I just want to get from point A to point B. I don't like talking to strangers. I mean, as a teacher, I talk to a lot of people, and I just need some time in silence when I'm just in the car. But they try to entertain you or themselves, maybe. And sometimes they get really personal.
Yeah, I think that sometimes they just don't acknowledge your personal boundaries, maybe. Because I remember I took a taxi from the airport when I returned from the US, and the taxi driver's like, "Oh, where are you flying from?" I'm like, "Well, from Moscow, but, before that I was flying from Boston." He's like, "Oh, US. Study?" I'm like, "No, work." And you can imagine, I had spent 25 hours on planes and at airports. I was exhausted. He's like, "Oh, working in the US. How much money do you make?"
Oh my God, my favorite question.
Excuse you? Just what? So, yeah.
It completely depends who asks that question. Because if it's a stranger, yeah, it's kind of rude. But if someone is like a friend and they're like, "How much do you make in this?"
But also,
it depends on the context.
if you're talking about, let's say, jobs, contracts, money, and then this question pops up, you might answer it, you might not. Okay.
Yeah.
But what were you doing there? Work. Immediately ask a stranger this question. Oh, it's a no-no.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not.
So
Yeah, that's
it's-
rude, yeah.
Yeah. Or for example, they're driving me to, let's say, to the office. Is it this office building? I'm like, yes. What do you do there? Work? Yes. What do you do? I'm a teacher. Teacher of what? English. Oh, can you teach me? I can speak English. Okay.
What about, can you say something in English?
No, never happens.
Never happens.
Since the time of my childhood.
All right.
Never happens again. My parents started to believe me that I can speak English. And taxi drivers don't ask this question.
No, that would be funny if you turn the tables around and instead start asking questions about the driver. Like, okay, so let's talk about you. So
What
how
is your
do-
driving experience?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to work? Do you have a work permit? When was the last time you had a full check of your car?
Yeah.
Well, I just need some time in silence. I'm not ready. I don't
Understandable,
have
yeah.
this energy to interact with people who I'm not interested in, who I don't care about, and who are not my students, who are not my friends.
Yeah, understandable.
I
That's
saw this
understandable.
meme somewhere. I can't remember exactly how it was worded, but it went along the lines of saying, "Job well done, taxi driver did not speak." Something
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
something
Well, I mean,
like
I
that.
love it when taxi drivers don't speak. It's just hello, goodbye. Perfect. Really.
Yeah.
And what about people?
And when they know the road, when they know where they're going to, and they don't ask me about,
Oh, yeah.
like, should I turn left or right? I don't know. You are the one in charge of this here. Like, not me. That's why I'm sitting on the back seat. I can drive myself.
Especially when you were in a new town. or you
Backseat drivers, that's something we can talk about. Do you know what this term means, a backseat driver?
Oh, when you are driving and the passenger on the back seat is like, "Oh, you should have done that.
Yeah,
You should have turned left instead of right."
backseat driving.
Yeah. So, but I'm not a driver, so I can't say if that would, annoy me or not. And as a passenger, I don't do that. So,
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it doesn't annoy me too much, especially if I'm driving in a new country and I don't know all the rules of the road. That's fair enough. Someone's like, "Hey, you can't just do that." That's fair enough. But if you've been driving for a long time and someone who just got their license tells you what to do, it's just,
That's insulting.
yeah.
yeah. And what about people who are late? Are you annoyed by people being late?
I am the person who is late. Not all the time, but sometimes. So that's why I can totally understand when other people are late. So no, I'm not usually. I mean, if it's not like 1 hour and a half,
Well, as far as I'm concerned, so long as the person is apologetic and really tries to explain why he or she's late, then I'm totally fine. But it really gets to me when people just arrive and, "Oh, okay, I'm here now." And no apologies. That's all.
yeah.
I really want to well, I'm sorry again to, I don't mean to sound evil again, but it's just in my mind, okay? I don't act out on my thoughts. So I just imagine slapping the person, like slapping him or her in the face without any apologies. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not evil, it's funny.
Yeah, you see? Okay, it may sound evil, but in my mind, it makes me laugh. You see, I don't know.
So that works so that you don't hold a grudge against them.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
whatever works. Benjamin, are you annoyed by people who are late?
To be honest, I'm a very punctual person. I really don't like being late, but I don't really care if other people are late. As long as it's not... Depends what the event is as well. If it's, I don't know, your wedding, and maybe, okay, that might be a bit annoying.
Well, I met a guy who was late for his wedding.
That's quite funny.
His bride was annoyed.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
I mean, if I have a lesson with a student, they're late, I'm not bothered, to be honest.
You're like, yeah, of course, I'm paid for that time of waiting.
Yeah.
Masha, you frowned. Why?
No, nothing.
Did I? No, I didn't. Yeah. I think I'm okay with waiting for people. But, it all depends, because let's say if it's an important event, or let's say I am very tied up with the time. Let's say we need to be somewhere at this exact time. Yeah. Let's say when it's when I go to a theater or a flight and people are being late, I'm like, I'm getting annoyed because, we need to go inside, or we need to take this flight at this exact time. And of course, that wouldn't be my fault that they were late, but I somehow feel responsible for a person I'm going, with. So, yeah, but if it's just a meeting, I'm okay. So, especially as Ken has said, if they're apologetic, or at least if they, tell me like, hey, I'm going to be, let's say, half an hour late, I'll be like, okay. I'm going to read a book or browse, Instagram or something like that. So fine. I think we will always find something to do while we're waiting.
Now I realize that I'm not annoyed when people are late. I am annoyed by waiting. So I just constant waiting for something which I don't know when it is going to happen.
Yeah, when you have a certain...
When something unknown.
Yes. So when, for example, somebody says, I'm sorry, I'll be half an hour late.
Yep.
Okay, fine. But actually, a couple of weeks ago, I had a situation. So you might remember that it was really boiling hot over here. It's like 34, something like that, 30 degrees. And I was at my mom's dacha. And I was planning on taking the commuter train. And my sister said, well, I was planning to come. So if you want, I can take you to the city. And I was like, cool. So I'm like, what time? She's like, well, around 2-ish. I'll come at 2-ish. And then, she said the ish. So I'm like, okay, well, fine. 2:30, maybe, maybe 1:45.
It was midnight.
It was, well, she came at like 6 p.m. So I came to the city at 9 and I was supposed to come at like 5 and I had plans. So I had to cancel my plans. And I was annoyed because when you say 2-ish, I would expect it to be, from 2 to 3 max. So she's like, oh, I stopped over there. I went to that shop. I went to that shop. I went to that shop. And then there was a little bit of a traffic jam. I'm like, okay, fine. So that was a little bit annoying because I didn't have the exact time frame.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the opposite of being late, so I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Germans and sunbeds. Does anyone know about this?
The what? No.
Okay, so in every holiday destination in Europe, so usually Spain or maybe Greece, you have a battle between the Germans and the Brits because the Germans always wake up first thing in the morning, super early, and they take all the sunbeds, they reserve all the sunbeds. And when the Brits, after they're all hungover, they come to get a sunbed by the pool, they notice that the Germans have invaded the
invaded
the swimming pool area, and it's a funny thing between.
Actually, that's a good point. So what do you think about people who come too early? So there are people who are always late, but there are people who come, let's say, to classes, to their appointments, let's say 40 minutes early, 50 minutes early. So what do you think about that? Would that annoy you?
Well, sometimes yes, because I feel like, okay, you're just a little too excited. Like you can, calm down, tone it down. Especially, for example, if way too early. So I come to the class and then there's one student waiting, and sometimes I'm not generalizing. I'm just saying there are, for example, some students who would show up and then they're there and it's like it's not time yet, but it seems like the student is like in a hurry, like can we start now? Now? It's like it's not time yet.
I would say that it is kind of like, a good, like a polite, the rule of being polite. So when you have an appointment, don't come too early. Because I remember when I was working at another school and we had not a lot of space, in the corridor. So it was just doors to the classroom. So if a person came very early, they would be standing in the corridor and another person would have, trouble squeezing past them. So, and then if they were waiting, they were kind of, making it difficult.
Crowding.
Yeah. So we asked all people, like, if you come early, that's fine. Just try not to be too early, if that's okay, because we have a very limited space over here. And then, students, teachers pass by. Yeah. So, yeah. All right. What about other things that have annoyed you, let's say, within the last month or that generally annoy you?
Hot water, come on. You got to talk about hot water. I mean...
I think we have just accepted this.
Yeah, this is
by
a
now.
fact of life here.
Isn't it fun, Ben?
A true experience, an adventure.
I did experience the cold water. Yeah, that was it's quite an adventure, yeah.
I knew you'd say adventure. So...
Well, another one for me is when you're in a queue and the person in front of you has just decided to choose which one to order when... for example, we've been waiting in line and, they're supposed to be thinking already of what to order. But then when it's their turn to give their order, that's when they start thinking, okay, what about this? And then they ask too many questions. And sometimes, oh my God, here we go again. I imagine in my mind having this hot frying pan that I want to smash across the face of the customer in front of me.
So you have your ideas for every situation, yes?
Yeah, really.
A lot of scenarios,
like this annoying situation, a frying pan, yeah? This annoying situation, I'm slapping you.
Because the thing here is that, whenever I'm in a queue, so I try to think immediately, what do I need? What do I want to eat? And then when it's my turn, I just, give my order and that's it. So it's going to be fast. The line will keep moving and then the person, behind me will be happy. But sometimes some customers are inconsiderate. They just, okay, so what about this spaghetti? Can you do okay. I don't want to swear.
So basically what annoys you is that you are being thoughtful and considerate of others, but others don't do the same thing. So yeah. I have one more thing on my list. Some people like counting other people's money. So for example, if they ask me, how much do you charge per hour? And I say this much, they're like, why do you need that much? So if you work 8 hours a day, then it's like 40 hours per week. You're going to have that much money. Why do you need that? Excuse you? So why are you, one, counting my money? And two, nobody can have 8 lessons per day every single day. Like that would mean immediate burnout. So
well, I know people who can, but it's the problem of quality.
Well, they're more of an exception to the rule then, yeah.
I mean, of course, it's none of their business to count anyone's money. And then also, sometimes I can notice it with my friends. We are all different and we spend money on different things. And what is important for me, not important for my friend and vice versa. And sometimes I'm like, why would she spend so much money on this, let's say, maybe expensive furniture? I don't care. But then again, I'm like, Masha, it's none of your business. It's her idea. It's her point. It's her dream.
So that's good that you acknowledge this, these feelings and you try to control yourself. Like, that's not a good type of thinking. Like, I should stop that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can totally control it because I accepted the fact that we are all different, and I appreciate this fact a lot.
Mm-hmm. And I have one more. It's not about what people do, but I recently read the news that book prices are going to rise by 50% in 2022, from 50 to 100%. I'm like, why?
Do you mean including ebooks, or do you mean just hardback?
Paper books. Just paper books. Ebooks are going to stay in the same price, range that they are now. They say that due to the, shortage of wood and everything, now books are going to become like twice as expensive in 2022, 2023. And that's a little bit annoying because they are so expensive now. Mm-hmm. And I would understand, the books by foreign authors because they need to be translated. And that's also, a lot of work to find the translators, to do that, a long process. But when a book by Russian authors costs, like 1,000, that's a little bit annoying. Like, come on. I want to pay, 3-digit numbers, 3-digit prices for the book and not 4-digit ones. So come on.
It's depressing, not annoying.
Yeah.
That's the next stage,
Yeah.
So, yeah. And, some time ago, there was this hashtag on Twitter, which is Iwishtheywouldnt, where people, posted what is annoying to them. And I would like to read some of them out and to tell me whether you would be annoyed by this or you don't care. So the first one would be, I wish people wouldn't leave supermarket trolleys in the parking lot.
I don't care.
Don't care?
I'm kind of on the fence about this. To be honest, I don't really care. I mean,
haven't you been to like a Target where people just leave the trolleys everywhere?
I mean, it's just polite to take it back. I guess like if you go to a fast food restaurant and you have a tray, it's nice to take it back. But then again, someone's getting paid. Someone has a job to do that, and that creates jobs. So I don't really have a strong opinion on it.
A vacancy to clean after people who can't do that themselves.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes it can be hard to park your car when there is a trolley.
Yeah.
I remember such cases when
happen,
I was driving, but rarely.
But all in all, you don't care. You're fine. Okay. So what about the next tweet? I wish my friends would put their phones away when we are having dinner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, but that's about friends. I know that what I'm about to say is not exactly, well, it's not about friends, but with students sometimes, even though they try to do it discreetly during the lesson. Mm-hmm. But hey, I have eyes and I can see what you're doing. I know that you're not, trying to distract anyone because anyway, it's the phone is in silent mode. But the fact that you're not listening to me and that your attention is on your phone, then it bothers me.
Yeah, it's funny how people do that on Zoom lessons because technically you can't see, the phone, but you can see the eyes not on the book, but they're like, I'm like, I can see your face lit up, by the phone screen, but okay, it's your choice. So who am I to stop you from doing that, All right. So, but all in all, you're fine then with that.
I mean, to be honest, I'm not bothered by it. I don't use my phone much, but I'm not too bothered by other people doing it.
Okay.
I mean, I can maybe accept it as a sign of not being interested in communication with me, which can bother me, not annoy, but make me feel uncomfortable. So not annoyed. I will think that, maybe something wrong with our communication. Like, why are you on the phone?
Well, I sometimes have the tendency of just, going through messages or just scrolling or playing a game and at the same time talking to my fiance. And very often they would just, snap at me like, can you put your phone away for just a minute, please? I'm like, I'm having a conversation with you at the same time. Have I missed any of the phrases that you've said? No. So, but okay. You should have asked me politely, of course, but All right, I'll put that away.
So what you're doing is you're multitasking.
Yes. We can put it this way, yes. All right. So what about the next one? I wish people would turn up when they say they're going to.
Oh yeah, that really annoys me, because the thing here is that it's like a promise. Like we have agreed to meet. And then what bothers me the most is when people, cancel it at the last minute. That really annoys me. And I may not say anything at the moment, but I'm going to give the person.
I'm going to remember and think of you dying
treatment.
in my head.
You know how I think.
What is the punishment for this case in your mind?
I don't think of anything related to death, but I'm already planning of my next step. Like, okay, so
Next time.
No, what I do is I try to distance myself a little bit with the person, which means that I try not to communicate with this person until he or she realizes, oh, okay, Ken, what's wrong? I don't know. What do you think? Because I'm not the one who will tell you what you have done wrong. For me personally,
It might sound a little bit, a tiny bit. It might sound a little bit passive aggressive, but okay.
Yeah. The thing is,
You're like, I'm not intending it as passive aggression. I'm planning it as active one.
I mean, we're adults. We're supposed to know. Well, then again, each person is different from another. But, you're supposed to know what you have done wrong. And for me, it's just unacceptable. Who would be happy to, to have somebody, like you expect somebody to turn up and then tells you, oh, I'm sorry, I cannot go there because blah, blah, blah. Oh, great. Yeah, sure. I mean, wouldn't you be unhappy as well? Am I crazy?
Depends.
Am I the only one here?
I think it depends on the situation. So let's say when you are already, at a place, if you're meeting offline, let's say at a certain place, and then the person, cancels the last minute, yes, I would be. But let's say if it's an online lesson and sometimes things happen, I'd be like, well, okay, things happen. So,
well, with online lessons, it's okay because I'm paid for that anyway. So I'm good. But we're talking about, meetings with people that you have previously agreed and you're not paid for that. And sometimes you drop other things.
yeah, because you want to meet them. Yeah. Marsha Benjamin, what do you think? Would that annoy you?
Well, I guess if, I don't know, Leonardo DiCaprio or the president invited you out to dinner, you'd be there at the time agreed.
Okay.
So I guess it's kind of like disrespect if someone doesn't honor their commitment.
What about, humble people who are not Leonardo and who are not the president of whatever country?
Yeah.
Well, we should be respectful,
All
no
right.
matter what and who.
This tweet made me remember two situations. When I was working here at Big Apple School offline, and I was not annoyed by the situation, but I was a little bit sad and disappointed and upset because I remember we had reading clubs over here. And I was very excited because, these were my first reading clubs and we were reading great books and I had prepared, everything for the meeting. And 12 people signed up. And I was like, ooh, we're going to have such, discussion and conversation. So I planned everything for 12 people and only 3 showed up. And I was like, what's wrong? Is it me? Is it not me? So I wasn't annoyed, but I was rather upset. And I started to think, maybe that's me. Maybe that's the book. What book should I have chosen? So, it just makes you think a lot.
Well, it's not annoying. It's
Yeah, it wasn't. It was just
You're just
sad.
Or disappointed.
yeah, disappointment, anxiety, these things.
Yeah. All right. What about the next one? I'm gonna use a rude word because I'm quoting, the tweet. So sorry for that. But I wish people wouldn't park like assholes.
Park like a-holes, yeah. Trying to think.
Drivers over here, Ben, you're a driver. Masha, you're a driver?
I used to
Yeah,
be.
I guess it's kind of annoying. Yeah, if you're trying to get to work or something and someone has parked in a really clumsy way, it can prevent you from seamlessly leaving your car and just going straight to work.
Yeah.
It's just hard for me to remember because I was a driver many years ago. I mean, technically I still am, but I don't own a car. And I don't know if I'm going to own a car anytime soon or anytime ever. So but now I'm starting to remember that when I was a driver, most people annoyed me.
Most people, you mean other drivers or pedestrians?
Most people.
Oh, just in general. Okay, got it. Got it. You know, I am sometimes annoyed by how people park, even though I'm not a driver, I'm a pedestrian. But you know, it's mostly about those people who park their cars on a sidewalk. Like, this is not your territory. Don't get on it. You have parking lots. Park there on the side of the road. I don't care, but not the pavement.
I'll tell you what
Sidewalk or what?
really annoys me. I'm a really keen cyclist. I love cycling, but I really don't love other cyclists. I actually side with the drivers, whereas a lot of cyclists hate the drivers. And I think, you know what? The drivers pay for the roads. They pay their taxes and everything. Of course, you do have drivers of all different sorts. But what I can't stand is when cyclists and motorcyclists get really angry because the driver didn't see them. Well, maybe you should have made yourself more
Visible.
and clear to the driver. They can't just expect.
Yeah, especially at
Yeah.
night or dark time of the day.
Yeah.
Well, in general, yeah, there are so many blind zones
yeah.
that cars have.
Yeah.
And you're so little
Yeah.
on a bicycle
And
or a
it's
motorcycle.
hilarious. In London, cyclists get so annoyed at other drivers. They kick off the rear mirrors of cars, and I just think it's just jealousy. Maybe not jealousy, but it's just like,
They just want to be taken seriously, I guess.
Yeah.
Here
It's
in
an
Russia, it's, I
insecurity,
guess,
yeah.
the opposite situation because drivers don't like and don't respect cyclers. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I love cycling, but I always give way to cars because they're big machines and they can kill you. And
Well,
if
yeah.
you don't want to, it's kind of like hanging around a bull and just hoping you don't get kicked by the bull. And a lot of these cyclists are just expecting these bulls to be nice to them. And
Yeah.
You're supposed to know the road rules, which some people don't. And if you are riding a bike, it doesn't make you either a driver or a pedestrian. So it's something different. So you need to know how you're supposed to behave.
So, and how can we deal with being annoyed? So how do you do? Well, we know Ken's strategy on how to deal with annoyance.
I like this strategy.
So you choose the path, you choose the way.
I mean, sometimes
violence.
actually, when I'm really annoyed, like really, I also can imagine things like this, but not with people who I know, but with maybe, or not people who I care for, I love, but sometimes I can imagine slapping people or
So
something.
this is one of the strategies that might. You know what? Have you watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Anyone?
No.
Nope.
What?
Sorry, you're alone.
Are you annoyed?
No, I'm not annoyed. I'm surprised. So, dear listeners, I hope you have watched Brooklyn Nine. Please tell me you have. Somebody, please reach out to me and say you have. Anywho, there was a moment, when one of the characters, she was really annoyed by a person, by a superior officer, like super annoyed. And she was given a piece of advice, like try to get in, in your head, try to get into your calm place, and another character said, for example, I imagine myself, on a beach with waves, ocean. And she's like, okay, I'll try. And she's, a very aggressive woman, very tough. So, and then, the superior officer started to annoy her, and she just looked at him and started smiling, and didn't let this annoyance get over her, get control over her thoughts and emotions and everything. And she was very, very calm, polite, like, yes, of course. And then they ask her, like, Rosa, what did you imagine? What was your calm play? She's like, oh, I just imagine, cutting off his arms and his legs and just, they're like, okay, cool. So that reminded me, of you. Well, no, that you reminded me of that situation, of that scene.
But okay, I just want to add something more because it happened, I guess, about 2 days ago. There was a group of teenagers. I went to KFC. Yeah.
Say no more, Ken. Say no more. Whatever you thought,
teenager.
We understand you now.
Yeah. I know. But okay. I just want to add that. So there was one girl. She was screaming, and I thought, I wish I had a baseball bat. But that thought, alone made me laugh. Just in my mind, you see, instead of me feeling so mad about the situation, but because I think of certain ways of how to, violently punish people in my mind, it makes me happy somehow.
Wait, before we proceed to talking about dealing with annoyance, I have a question to Masha. You have a teenage son, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is he very irritable and constantly annoyed?
He is sometimes annoyed. Yeah, but maybe he's not at that stage of being constantly annoyed.
Mm-hmm.
No, maybe it's in the future.
So does it cause any kind of major problems or miscommunication?
What helps me and him, I guess, humor and sarcasm. He has developed kind of the same sense of humor as me, so that helps.
He dark and deep sarcasm.
Yeah, kind of. He knows how to make me laugh, and that it helps. He is a cunning person, I guess.
Yeah, I love those easily annoyed characters from different sitcoms or TV shows, because they're usually super sarcastic. Like, have you watched Scrubs?
Sure.
Oh, yeah, many years ago.
Thank God.
8 times.
So do you remember Dr. Cox? Like, he
Yes,
was constantly
he was very funny.
annoyed by everything, and that made him very sarcastic. Wow, Katya. Fantastic. Especially towards JD.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wish I remembered any of the phrases.
I just remember Dr. Cox was a hilarious character.
Oh, he was. He was so
Like, newbie, you would be less useless if you were the wall you are leaning on or something like this.
Now I can see you watched it many times.
8 times at least. I mean, it's my favorite TV show. It's the best ever. Let's change the topic of our discussion and start discussing Scrubs right now.
As they say, if you haven't found the solution to any problem, you just haven't found the right episode of Scrubs yet.
Or any other TV show, yeah.
Fair enough. All right. So I'm sorry for, getting off the topic a little bit, but so dealing with annoyance, imagining your calm place or hitting somebody with a bat is one of the strategies. So how else can we deal with this feeling when somebody is annoying or something is annoying?
Just realize that everyone, to some extent or another, wants attention, and everyone does. Everyone wants attention, and annoying things come from other people's insecurities. So let's say if someone is, I don't know, as much as I love hearing loud cars at night, there's a reason why someone's doing that. There's a reason why they do that. It's because they want attention. They want to look cool. Mm-hmm. Not judging, because I want attention. Everyone wants attention. And just looking at it from that perspective, that okay, something must have happened in their childhood which influenced them to do
That's
something.
deep.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's how you detach from it all. It's like, everyone.
Okay.
But I must say that I agree with him, because sometimes I try to think a little more deeply about it. Like, why is he behaving the way he does? Maybe something wrong happened to him. But then again, sometimes when I think of these, things, I tell myself, but I don't think I'm the person who needs to, teach you that you shouldn't be acting this way. It's like sometimes as much as I get upset by other people's behavior, but, I just don't feel like it's my obligation. It's like, okay, maybe I'm not the right person, but you're going to learn your lesson someday with another person. But I hope it's not going to be too tough on you. But sometimes people, people just need to, people need to be made aware of their actions. And sometimes, I think, I wish you'd meet, this right person who will educate you, quote unquote, educate you so that, you'll be put in your place and for you to realize that what you're doing is really annoying. Yeah.
I would say that sometimes it might be helpful to reframe your negative thoughts, especially, when these thoughts are not towards some people, but towards a situation. So let's say if you're in a traffic jam and you might be annoyed by that, of course, because you're being late, or you're stuck in a crowded bus. But if you keep thinking about that, about this traffic jam and how much you hate it, of course you're going to, hate it and you're going to be annoyed. But if you at least try to redirect your thoughts towards something else, it might help. So let's say, okay, I am in a traffic jam. Can I change something? Well, I don't think I can. So what if I read a book right now? Or let's say use this time somehow. So yeah.
And for example, when I'm annoyed by other people's behavior, what helps me is to ask myself why I am so annoyed. It's
That's
not them.
a good
It's
point.
me.
Yeah.
It's me.
Yeah.
It's something inside of myself which makes me feel annoyed. So if I ask correct questions to myself, it can help me address other people and deal with these things.
Yeah, examining your triggers. Yeah.
But also, I think it's important to remember that if you're constantly annoyed by every single little thing, let's say somebody, I don't know, even if somebody like coughs all the time, in the corridor, you're like, God, can you stop? So maybe that's a good, sign to actually pay attention to your health and try to find
it can be
reason.
hormonal, for example.
Because, it can be a sign of stress, anxiety, sleep disorder, low sugar level even. Or, as you said, it might be a hormonal or a side effect of a certain medication you're taking. So, So if you're constantly irritated, make sure to check your health. So it might be something connected with that or with your sleep or whatever. Yeah. So, and speaking of, annoying situations, there are certain situations that tend to be very annoying that have happened to all of us, which have the name of Murphy's Law. Now, what is that? How would you understand, how would you define Murphy's Law?
Is it like if a bad thing can happen or has any chance to happen, it will inevitably happen?
Yeah.
Okay.
So can you think of some situations, like typical Murphy's Law situations?
Well, say for example, you go to the airport early, but then your flight is delayed. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
when I was preparing for the podcast, I remembered a couple of situations which I think can be in coordination with this. But it happened in my childhood. I remember one situation. I was a schoolgirl, and for some reason I thought, like, what if tomorrow I oversleep, and when my classmate will come to my place to go to school together, I will be in bed. And the next morning, it happened. I mean, really, it was like 5 to 9, and I was in bed, and she came like, Masha, it's time to go to school. So I still remember it. It was strange, funny.
You're like, what if the universe is like, well, I can make that happen.
Yeah, I wish it happened more often with something positive.
It's like I have a situation that I told Benjamin and Ken just before the podcast. A couple of days ago, just in the morning, I was, browsing Instagram, and I said, oh, wow, the girl I know, she had 2 bats in a bathroom. Wow, I had no idea bats can live here in Siberia. I had never seen bats with my own eyes. Never. The very same day, the very same evening, a bat flew into my apartment. I was like, thank you, universe. I should have been clearer, probably.
You manifested it.
Why doesn't it work with, let's say, $1 million flying into a window?
Because that's
quite
not how $1 million work. You know, they can't
Bets
fly.
work, why dollars don't?
I have another situation which, what was it? So with the bat. Oh, yeah. You know how we sometimes laugh that you should be very precise with what you wish for. So New Year night, I was like, this year, my plan for 2021 is to solve all my health problems. And I think the universe heard it like, health problems? Okay, noted, health problems. I can give you that. That's not what I meant. But yeah, anywho, Murphy's Law situations.
Ben?
I need a second.
Well, I can tell you about one more situation from my childhood again, because, for example, we were in the village with my mom and some friends of hers, and there were some kids, and we went to a hill, and we climbed that hill, and then other children decided to run down that hill, and I was the last, and I thought, like, what if I fall down? When I'm running down that hill.
I see what you're driving at.
And I fell down so badly. I hurt my knees, my elbows. I turned my dress. And also I think I hurt my face. Yeah.
Oh, that
Wow.
sounds so
Just
painful.
the moment after I thought, what if I fall? I fell.
You should be careful with thoughts like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know how to deal with, not how to deal with, but I know a lot about negative thinking, but I need to teach myself how to think positively, I guess.
Well, one classic example, and I know it's, I try to avoid it. I try to prevent it from happening, but every once in a while when I wear a plain white shirt and I have
High five,
soup
Ken.
or sauce,
High five.
it's like, I'm already preparing myself mentally. It's like, okay, I know about this thing. Like sometimes you splatter something onto your white shirt. So I will do my very best to avoid that. So you see, I've already prepared for it. And then when I go to my meal, start eating, and then boom.
Yeah.
Right.
All
It doesn't
the
happen when you
time.
wear any other color.
Right?
Exactly.
It happens all the time with white, all the time. I'm like, okay, I'm wearing white. There's, I drink my coffee. It has a lid on. There is literally no chance I'll spill it. No, I do that anyway. Do you remember there was this movie which was called A Series of Unfortunate Events?
Yes, yeah, the book series and then the movie series. as well.
So I sometimes believe that that's basically me and the Murphy's Law. If there is a chance that my bus would not come, it won't come. If there is a chance that I spill something, I'll spill it. So or let's say wearing white and getting under the rain or falling or something like that or hitting things. That's my life, basically, all the time. And I remember once I was waiting for the bus and I set off, like 25 minutes before, for the train. I set off like 25 minutes before the train. So I thought I have plenty of time. I can't be late. And I wasn't late, but the train was 1 hour for 1 hour and a half. And I thought, there were no notifications, nothing like that. So and I thought, okay, let me check it. So I checked it. I was like, damn, it's going to be late, for like 40 more minutes. But there is a bus that is coming very soon. And I turned around and I saw the bus just, leaving the bus stop. I was like, of course. Why not? So I ended up paying $30 for an Uber. That was
Wow.
very annoying. Yeah, very.
That's one very nice thing about Novosibirsk. Ubers are a tenth of the price of the Western prices, the Western
Yeah, and the
fares.
seller is 100th of a salary.
Well, I guess maybe it's like a third. It's like a third of maybe not a third, like a fifth maybe or a quarter.
Okay, yeah. Well,
But yeah, I guess. But it is crazy how expensive Ubers are in the West.
So can you think of any other Murphy's Law situations?
I just remember it happened when I was in college. I had to do a presentation for a particular subject. So I did my PowerPoint, everything, of course, photos with some video clips inserted. And then just before I went to bed, a thought came to my mind and I asked myself, what are the chances of a blackout happening tomorrow? And I thought, no, it's not going to happen. Come on, think positive. And guess what happened the following day?
Oh,
No electricity. And I said, great, perfect. So I wasted all of my time looking for those photos, videos inserted in my, PowerPoint presentation, and I'm not going to be able to show it to them.
Well, the key to it all is everyone said all these things happen when they think, what if? So I think we need to think, what if, and then think something good, and then
that's
imagine it.
because of this Murphy's Law. And, if bad things can happen, they usually will. So that's why I don't take... I don't make an appointment with my exam. So, TOEFL exam. So in this year, or maybe from last year, they have a new way of taking it. So now you can take it at home. So you can take TOEFL at home in the comfort of your own home. You just have to, before the exam starts, you have to have a meeting with the proctor. So you have to show everything around. So, like that you don't have any kind of notes, paper, nothing like that there are no people. So, and that sounds great. You can do that without going to a place. Fantastic. But then I thought, okay, I'm pretty sure that if I have this exam at my home, my neighbors will, start renovating or, drilling something. Or suddenly there's going to be loud noise, or my neighbor will, listen to music very loudly, or the internet will disappear, or the lights will go off, the electricity will go off. And in that case, the money is, you can get no reimbursement, no refund, and it's $250. I'm like, that's too expensive to actually try it and risk it with this. So I'm like, oh no, too many what ifs in this situation, too many. So, yeah. But it's interesting, because, technically, Murphy's Law, it's not proven or disproven. So it's just a satirical statement that if something bad can happen, it will. But it does happen.
Do you know if there is an opposite of Murphy's Law? Like if something positive can happen, it will?
Yes. And you know how they name it? Okay, so basically if you put the letters in Murphy backwards, so it's like YHP RUM. How would you read it? Like Ephraim?
Ephraim. Yeah.
So yeah, but there is this, like a satirical way of that. Yeah. So that if something good can happen, it will. I like that more, actually.
I don't know if
Law.
you believe in like the universe, that whatever you put out there, it's like you're sending a message to the universe. And then, do you believe in such a thing?
Sometimes.
Depends on whether you judge people or not.
Yeah, sure. Whenever good things happen to me, it's because I'm in a calm, unanxious state. And whenever I'm in an anxious state, bad things happen. So yeah.
Because I think the moment you entertain an idea and you put it out there, it will probably happen. And that's why, as much as possible, I just want to shut my brain sometimes. Like, forget about the what ifs. Everything's going to be all right. Okay.
But I don't believe in it in some kind of airy fairy magic way. It's if you're in an anxious state and you're, let's say, walking up the stairs and you're thinking, oh God, that annoyed me so much. You're taken out of the present moment and you can trip on a step and then bad things happen from there.
They say that when you picture something, you have to picture it as if it has already happened in a positive way, I mean. So let's say if you think like, oh, I want, let's say, a promotion or I want a pay raise, you have to think as if it has already happened and technically has logic in it. Because if you think of that as something that has already happened, you will have motivation to work on that and to actually make it happen. So not, just rely on the universe, like, okay, I'm waiting, universe, come on, where's my pay raise? No, but you would be more inspired maybe to actually take steps towards the thing you want.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Okay. And I wanted to end on a language note. So because we've talked about, how to deal with annoyance and everything, but what if we, for English language teachers talk a little bit about how to express this annoyance. Because, instead of saying, I'm annoyed, or I'm mad. So how else can we express that? What kind of phrases can we have?
Pissed off.
Pissed off.
Coming back to conditional sentences here, conditional phrases. So
Come on, shine.
What if? Well, let's think of an example.
And Ben, what conditional would that be?
Well, what if I could... ...
The second?
Yeah. Second conditional.
So like, what if I had $1 million?
Yep.
What if I met...
So if I had $1 million, I would.
Mm-hmm. So, but that's more about,
Wishful thinking.
Yeah, wishful thinking. Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pissed off. I'm mad.
I'm irritated.
Yeah.
Or you can also say that you can't stand something.
I can't stand it. Yeah, I can't bear it. What if you speaking and you want to show this annoyance? Because I know that sometimes people use different phrases like, oh, for Christ's sake. Are there any other phrases? Of course there are.
Of course there are. I'm just trying. Yeah, I'm trying to separate the rude words from the...
The rude words are going to be sent only to those who leave comments in our VK group.
If you want to be posh, maybe you could say, I'm absolutely livid.
Livid?
Yeah.
How do you say like
Livid?
I've never heard about this word. Livid.
Yeah, really angry.
But is it like an old-fashioned word?
I guess it's getting a bit older. I haven't heard it in a long time either.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
Or if you want to, say, for example, criticize other people's behavior, you can use wish plus would or wouldn't.
Like, I wish you wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I'm annoyed with you doing that. I want you to stop. I wish you would do that, or I wish you wouldn't do that. And I also think we can use present continuous in that case as well. Like, you're always
Right.
saying that. You're always doing that.
Yeah,
Not just-
I wish you would stop eating so loudly.
Yeah. Okay.
So the combination of always plus present continuous to mean that you are annoyed with somebody else's behavior.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that was a little educational minute for our listeners. So make sure to write down those phrases. We just hope that you won't have, many chances to use them. So because, the less annoying situations you have in your life, the better. All right. And actually, I'm kind of curious about what annoys you, a listener who's listening to this. So feel free to send, comments on VK and talk to us about it. So maybe we can, vent about certain situations. All right. So that was the Big Apple School podcast. And today we discussed annoying situations and things we hate and why and whatnot. Thank you, Masha, Benjamin, Ken. And thank you, dear listeners, for listening. And remember, if you struggle to understand any part of our conversation, you are always welcome to our website, which is bigappleschool.com/podcast. You can find full scripts of each episode there, so it's really helpful. And you can find a lot of useful stuff on our website in general. Articles, videos, grammar, you name it. There's everything. And just a reminder that we also have a kids channel on our Instagram. So if you have kids and you want them to start learning English, or you just want to find different articles about how to teach them, make sure to check this out. It's very entertaining. So, and it's on Big Apple School Kids. So also, we are not only on the website or on Instagram, we are on every social media you can imagine. YouTube, Telegram, VK, just search our name, which is again, Big Apple School. So now, if you are annoyed by me saying that every single time, I'm sorry. Wrapping this up. So that was Katya, and my guests for today were
Maria.
Benjamin.
and
Ken.
Stay tuned, and we'll see you around.